Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So I had a great question in the comments asking, what was the time frame of me buying all my real estate, all my 52 units or 90 units at one point, and how did I finance each one? And he asked the question because he's also a pharmacist and he's struggling to qualify for loans because they want 2 years of rental income to consider that as part of your debt to income ratio. So let me first start with my real estate buying timeline, and then I'll talk about how I finance them and what I would recommend you do if you run into this issue of they wanting 2 years of rental income to count. So, first of all, I became a pharmacist in 2013, and I've been working as a pharmacist since for 11 years, right? So, I am a high income W 2 working professional, and I came out with $250,000 student debt. So, I bought my first piece of real estate in 2017, and I was probably making like close to $200,000 at the time. And I basically put 10% down. It was a 4.5% interest rate. I bought a $800,000 property, so I put 80K down, and basically, I did that using a traditional conventional loan, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? So what I did was I house hacked that property and I actually claimed the house hack income on my tax returns, so that they can see income coming in. And, but of course you're going to pay taxes on that, but, you get tax write offs because, for example, if I have a 4 bedroom house, I live in 1 bedroom, and I rent out the 3 other bedrooms, then the house is 75% a rental property and 25% as a primary residence. So I think that's the difference between rental property Schedule E and primary residence Schedule A. So 25% was Schedule A, 75% was Schedule E, I believe. Double check me though. Anyways, my second property I bought was also a house hack. So I bought this in 2019. So first one I bought in November of 2017. Second one I bought in May of 2019. So about a year and a half later, and um, I traditional financing. Once again, I was making around $200,000, and um, when I got the property, I rented the other property out. I just showed a lease, and it was Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac through U.S. Bank, and they didn't really care that I had a 2 year lease on it because I literally just rented it out at a rental lease, and they're okay with that, right? So once again, 10% down, bought the property, house hacked it, lived in the master bedroom, rented out the 4 other bedrooms. So I rented out 2 other bedrooms upstairs, and I rented out the downstairs unit as a 2 bedroom, 1 bath kind of apartment. So I did that again in 2021, January 2021, where I basically bought another house hack where I bought it with the intent of living in it, but got laid off. So I ended up, renting an apartment instead and renting out the whole house completely. So, bought for about $700,000, 10% down again. My SF house I bought for $1.1 million, 10% down. So you can do the math. And from there, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and this was during the heart of COVID, right? So interest rates were like, I think 2.75%, something like that. The next one I was renting is I bought, I rented out my prior SF house, and I would just show the lease once again, right? Like I had, I rented the upper unit and the lower unit, and I had leases on those. The next property I bought was in Huntsville, Alabama, and once again, I put 25% down. I bought for 260K roughly, and it cash flows about $800 a month, and once again, I traditional financing. So from there, I bought my apartment complex. So I bought this Huntsville one in March of 2021. So I bought a house hack in January 2021. Bought a Huntsville, Alabama property in March of 2021, and then I bought my first apartment complex in August of 2021, right, which is my 26 unit apartment complex through BMO. And once again, I traditional finance, but on this property, they look more at the income because it's commercial real estate. They look more at the property than me, right? So yes, they did ask for like, oh, what are your leases on your properties, right? But they never asked like how long I owned it, leased it out for. I would show them the lease agreements and they'd see it, but it was really never an issue, right? And then after that, in November of 2021, I bought my mobile home park seller finance. So that one, there's no bank, they didn't really ask for anything. Next one I bought was my 20 unit using a hard money loan in May of 2022, And once again, it was a hard money loan. So, I mean, yes, they looked at the leases, but they didn't really care too much, right? They looked more at the asset. So you can kind of see, and then fast forward, I refinanced my 20 units in July of 2023. And, they did look at my incomes, but my income, but they didn't really look at like how long the leases were for. And then I bought a property, my primary residence today, which I don't house hack, I just live in it in um, May of 2024, right? So this one, they did look at all my properties, they looked at the lease agreements, but they didn't look at how long I owned it for. They just looked at my most recent tax return. So, kind of moral of the story is with single family homes, 1 to 4 units, conventional financing. I have videos talking about this, so just search financing on my channel and you'll find it. But they focus more on your debt to income ratio. They look at you personally, look at your debt to income ratio. So how much debt do you have? How much income do you have? Right? And in my experience, they didn't really look at how long the units were rented out for. Right? I have a great credit score. To preface this, probably should have set this in the beginning, but my credit score is like 800 plus. Right? So I have a really great credit score. Despite having high debt, I pay it on time every month. Right? Um, and basically, it's they never really looked at the period. For my commercial real estate, they looked at the property first, but because I'm personally guaranteeing it and it's a recourse loan, so it means I'm liable for it. So if I default on this loan, they come after my other assets. They did look at my tax returns, but they don't factor in as much. They're more focused on how does your apartment complex function on its own, right? But because it's a smaller apartment complex of 26 units, it's a recourse loan, so I have to personally guarantee it, right? There are loan products out there where you can get it non-recourse, but you're paying a high interest rate. And so, from my experience, different lenders have different appetites. So if your lender that you're using is asking for 2 years of rental income, then talk to other lenders, right? Each banks have different criteria, right? So that's why when I finance my loans, I have like 10, I reach out to 10, 20 different lenders because they have different appetites for different loans, right? There's lenders where they'll finance a 26 unit and they don't care about it's called low document loans, right? They don't really look much at me. They look more at the asset, right? Or there's DSCSR loan, debt service coverage ratio loans, where they don't care your income, your tax returns. They just want to look, how does that property do on its own? And that's how they're factoring their lending terms. But your interest rate's going to be higher, right? Because it's more risk. So it's going to be a higher interest rate, right? So I'll give an example. So let's just say I use a Fannie Mac conventional finance loan for a single family home. And let's just say my interest rate might be like 5%, but I'm personally guarantee it. If I do a DSCSR loan, right, that just looks at the asset, it doesn't look at me personally, maybe my interest rate might be like 6.5%. So it's going to be higher, right? But it's going to be easier to qualify and less headache. So this is the struggle that real estate investors go through as you scale. Like me, like my tax returns aren't pretty, right? Because I am renovating a lot of my real estate. I'm getting a lot of tax write-offs, and I'm stabilizing the asset. So I have high expense, not much income right now. When I was stabilizing it, but they don't look at that. They just want to look at how does the asset perform on its own. And most lenders want a DSCSR of greater than 1.25. So just talk to your lender, like, hey, is the situation going to work? And if they say no, don't get discouraged. Ask another lender. Like, no means ask someone else, right? Like, yes, like each lender has a different appetite, right? I know there's a lender for investment properties that you can put 5% down, right? But they're going to want a certain credit score. They're going to want a certain debt to income ratio. Yes, there's lenders that give a better, lower credit score, but they have different criteria. So, like, just keep asking around. That's why you have to engage a multiple lenders, multiple brokers, and to really find one that finance your property. Like my 20 unit, it took me like asking 10 people to refinance it or to get the property financed because I finally found a hard money lender. And then after I stabilized it, I refinanced it using another lender, right? So different. Um, I could have refinanced it using the same lender, but the interest rate would have been higher, right? Like they would refinance me, but I'm gonna get like a 9-10% interest rate, right? Versus Bank of the West, which is now BMO, they gave me like a 6.5%, but it's harder to go through. So that's kind of the moral of the story is if a lender says no, then ask another lender, right? Because different lenders, if it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, it's more stringent. But if they're portfolio lenders, they're investors, then they have different criteria and different appetite, right? So just ask multiple people. So if you're looking to buy your first multifamily deal with some guidance, check out the mentorship program. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions about this video. Hopefully you found value from this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.